welcome to episode 9, Beyond the Dirt, Tractor Pulling with GZ on YouTube. Our guest today is going to be Justin Howard and Cecil Howard, both from Carthage, Missouri. Been pulling a long time, and so I know there's a lot of history in your family of the pulling and stuff. So guys, just tell the viewers your story.
Well, we kind of fell in line with Justin's grandpa, Kenny Adams. He was the original driver of the Double Trouble K5 Blazer that everybody's seen in the area for many years. Kenny kind of started back in the early 80s. And when I was in high school, started dating his daughter, I started kind of tagging along truck pulls through the 80s. And Kendall at the time was running with the smaller stuff, and they was pulling 3-wheelers and 4-wheelers, and kind of started up like that. And then in, I believe it was like 93, I built me a truck and started running with the Southern Spring River organization over there in Southwest Missouri. And we ran all the way through the early 2000s. Justin was born in 98, and by the age of 4, we kind of seen these garden tractors come along. And as a young kid, he kind of fell in love with little John Deere, so we bought him a 110 John Deere. And of course, had to have a big chrome stack put on it.
Oh, yeah. It had to be nice and shiny every time.
Yeah.
So,
Grandpa built him some wheelie bars, and we got us some pulling tires, and so we started running about every weekend we could. They were running down there, old Bulls, that Bull over there in Granby. I think his name was Bulls or something, I believe.
No,
But Kevin McClellan, anyway, Kevin McClellan had a sled, and about every weekend we were pulling garden tractors with antiques, and so as we went along, Justin drove that garden tractor for, I think he started when he was 4 and ran it until he was about 12.
Yeah.
And he decided one night he was too big for a little garden tractor, and we'd made a deal with old Norman Drake, who passed away. He was a sled runner, Spring River. Old Norman, I said, you come to Carthage. We've been pulling Carthage forever. I said, I'm gonna put Justin there and let him drag your sled down into the track, and we'll see if he can handle it. And he just laughed at me. He said, there's no practice in pulling. Either you're a puller or you're not.
Yeah.
So I slid the old seat forward and threw Justin in there, and his mama come running out there and said, what are you doing? I said, that boy's driving that truck tonight. She goes, he ain't driving that truck. I said, I'm gonna run beside him.
that was the best idea you ever had.
We put Grandpa down the track so he could kind of steer him on, come on, and got him revved up, and he drops that thing in gear, and I take about 2 or 3 steps, and that truck is gone. Mm-hmm. And he goes down there, and I think Grandpa just beat him by a few inches that night. So it was on after that. So
ran that truck for a couple of years. Decided I was too big for that one. I wanted a little bit more power. So Grandpa had just got his motor rebuilt in Double Trouble. And in the Lockwood, actually, of all places. I don't know, what was that, 14, 15?
he was 14 years old.
Decided to drive it. Could not keep it running. It just stalled out there. Finally decided to figure it out, and been pulling ever since then.
Yeah. So I retired mine. I couldn't afford it. I had the labor to keep 2 trucks running because Grandpa was getting out of it. So we parked my old Trouble 2 truck, and the Double Trouble, we spent all our efforts to keep it running.
Yeah.
Did you continue running beside it?
After that first time, I can't keep up with the kid.
Nah, he gave that up pretty fast.
And it was awesome. I believe when he was 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there, or one of those, one of them ages there, like he won the points championship at Spring River in that 5,500 small block class for about 3 years in a row. And there was a lot of grown-ups. Man, that kid is killing us. So he had a knack. He's been around his whole life. From the time he was born till the time he was 4, we drug him day one, day out. That's why I've always, we've been pulling Carthage for about 40 years now. Shriners over there in Carthage. We've been hand pulls for around 40 years.
40 years?
Around 40 years. We used to have some antiques, but as he started coming up, I said, guys, it's these garden tractors is where the future is at. That's where you get these kids loving this sport, and it kind of breeds our next generation of big truck pullers. And I said, you've got to keep these guard tractors coming, because it gives them kids a place to go play.
Yes.
And there's a lot worse things kids can be doing than riding these tractors.
And it really has, developed. All these people are coming off these garden tractors, getting into these bigger tractors, trucks.
And we try to encourage that too, get them kids started, so.
Yeah, since I've been beating all them older guys, it's been a lot more competitive now. They like to throw their money at me, so.
Yeah, it used to be the small block class that we ran was kind of the beginners, class, get guys in there, get them started before they had to go jump that big block. And now that small block class is pretty tough. Yeah.
I've been asking a lot of guys this on the podcast, Ford or Chevy, man. Of course, I know the answer.
Yeah, we're Chevy guys.
Big time Chevy.
Yeah, we're Chevy guys. Everybody loves theirs, and if that's what you love, that's, I used to, Wally Kirshner, what his name was, he's had a blown truck called Young Guns, big old stretch black truck, and I used to just love to irritate Wally when I was a younger man, in my mid-20s. I just aggravate him, and I got me one of them little stickers, the little Calvin pin on a Ford emblem, and I put it on my truck. And he come up there one day, and of course he wasn't that big, and he said, I just crawl up in the middle of your truck and rip that off there. I said, well, go ahead, man, and get up there. I just did it just razz, I gave you a little razz. That's all it does, about having fun with everybody. Yeah.
No, but when it comes down to Ford or Chevy, they all have their classes where they have strengths. Super Street's big, Ford class.
Yeah, this year,
Chevy, seems like.
since we're going with, we decided that we wanted to kind of stretch out and go on from Spring River, and we joined Southern Missouri. And they're going to come down to Carthage to help us put our pool on this year. So they have a super stock class, right? Yeah. And this thing has some of the most beautiful Ford pickups. They all look like show trucks. I don't know where these guys, I didn't know Ford lasts that long, really. You don't see very on the street, you see old Chevys everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess these Fords are pulling trucks, because these guys bring them out, and they are good looking. They run the trucks.
10, 15 at a time, usually.
Oh, yeah. A bunch of them.
They bring a bunch.
So, you've got a lot of questions.
I got a lot of questions. We're going to get into that. Some of this other stuff, I usually ask the other tractor pullers and stuff. And I think I've got a lot of comments on this. With our generation and what we've learned, and like the last guy was on here, we call it old school mechanicing, or whatever. So, but about pulling motors and shade tree, wrenching underneath the shade tree under the oak tree on Sunday afternoon, like Grandpa did, and turning the distributor and tuning it in, by listening to it. So, bottom line, how do you feel about the new electronics in the world today?
Well, we're probably still behind a lot of the guys. Now, we do run our MSD systems and run a pro billet distributors.
Electronic complete system, really, fans, ignition.
Well, yeah, he's converted his truck. But as far as like you're talking about tuning, back when we was first running the double trouble truck, we still run a points condenser. So we're sitting there, I'm relying on his grandpa. Kenny gonna be 83 in March, and that old rascal he can still crawl in the middle of that truck and tell you what he thinks. So when we got away from all that, went to the pro billets and stuff, advancing the time in, shooting them with the time in light. We used to run them way out there. A lot of guys would say, we run 50-degree advance on some of them motors. We was really turning them small blocks up pretty tight. Now we're standing there shooting them around 26, not really getting too carried away. But I know a lot of guys are putting them data loggers in them trucks, and
they can be a double-edged sword. Because if you don't have them set right, it kills the whole system in the truck and tractor. You see it on the PPL pulls, they have everything's electronic with that Corsair data acquisition. Either it makes a huge pass or it doesn't. So it's still a learning curve for a lot of people. And where we're at, I don't think we're jumping into that yet. But there is some technology out there that these younger generations, they're getting more out of motors than you ever thought of.
I kind of with this Facebook and this YouTube deal and this podcast and stuff, I've had a lot of questions sent in about that. How's your feelings, and me being kind of new at this, I come from the horse pulling world, and only been in this maybe 3, 4, I don't know, I've lost track of time. It's a few years,
Right.
And, so I'm just throwing that out there for the viewers because They ask the question.
I mean, it'd be nice, yeah, most of the guys should plug their computer in there,
Yeah.
RPM, power band, fuel ratios, and everything, duty cycles. I mean, it's nice to see all that, other than, what we do is we pull a plug out, look at the plug.
Take a burn on it and see what it's burning like.
Listen to sound, that's what we do still.
And that's getting into the big stuff. I mean, the
Yeah,
bigger
right.
stuff too,
We
low boys,
I come from the days when we were putting on tractor pulls and we had a sheet of metal out there and we all had a seat. And me and a buddy of mine that's passed now, he's a little bit bigger than me. He was the Terminator, what I kind of call him. He got down there to the end, and old Robin, when he'd step on it, you're done. I mean, there might have been 10 guys riding that piece of metal, and I'd walk out there, Of course, we were smart. We didn't want to have to ride the pan or walk all the way back. We got the last 2 seats, and we'd have to walk too far, So I've been from the ground up and that, and you guys got your guard tractor sleds and Kevin McClellan sled, and of course I ran Spring River for all them years, and when you start going to these X Factors, these mechanical sleds that drive themselves, the speed of the pull, it's just a
technology.
whole different game.
Yeah.
And you got guys that build trucks to run them kind of sleds, and you got guys that build trucks to run them old style sleds, and it's a whole different deal. I mean, you're pulling a freight train versus taking off with the buggy,
You was talking about pulling a pan,
Oh.
Well, Albert Potosnik, and I know Albert's going to watch this and everything. Albert Potosnik, he was telling us about one of the first tractor pulls that he pulled at was in the early '60s, I think, in McCune, Kansas, and they had a wooden bottom sled.
Oh, really?
And he went so fast it caught on fire.
It must have been about as rocky as Carthage,
smoke
too.
coming out from underneath it,
Have
so.
something to spark.
Oh yeah, he was telling us about hooking on
But
to
no,
that.
them new sleds, they just put on one heck of a show, These older sleds like Spring River, it's like pulling a cruise ship.
And,
You go 20 mile an hour, these new sleds, you can run 27, 30 mile an hour, and then as soon as that box hits, you're over.
apparently they were good enough because we ran them for 30 years.
What
I mean,
fascinates me is like, I went over to that pole that had a Petro, and
Yeah.
of course I've been to another one or two in my life, but man, how fast that box just shoots up there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Man, it just goes,
You can watch it in the rearview mirror,
Yeah.
and you know it's coming, and it hits you.
When it hits,
You're-
it's sudden death.
You're done.
Yeah.
You're struggling.
Okay, we're gonna get into some questions. Let's go ahead and take a break first, and then we'll get into questions.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome you to Happy Jack's Foods, home of Beyond the Dirt Pulling Podcast. Come and see us, try out our good food.
Again, thanks to Happy Jack's here in Columbus, Kansas for letting us come in here and do a podcast. And don't forget, on April the 15th, we're having a car, truck, and tractor show here. Got some pretty good awards. I think I got 10 awards for the tractor show. So got a band throughout the day, good food. So April 15th starts at 11 o'clock in the morning. So if you got any more if you want any more information, contact me on my Facebook page, Tractor Pulling with GZ, and I'll fill you in. Got several questions here, guys, sent in, and must have a lot of followers or friends, because I guarantee you I got a bunch of them. Had 4 or 5 about basically the same. It said, when you are backing up to the sled and you know it's your time to pull, what's Justin Howard, now this had to be one of your friends said this.
Probably.
It says, what's Justin Howard thinking about? Nerves, butterflies, question mark.
Really, when I'm back into the sled, it's a couple of things. It's either, I hope this thing doesn't blow up tonight or break. That's a lot of the times when you pull an X Factor because you're running them so hard and fast. A lot of the times, you really don't think at all. You just back it up and go. But, depends on the night, really. You get a little bit of butterflies before you go, but that's just because all of us are giving each other a hard time up there,
Now, I know the guy that has to help work on that truck. It usually depends on how the guys in front of him pull.
Right.
If they all come off really hard and they're screaming, I'm down there going, don't blow this thing up. Because when he revs her up, and what are you trying to?
I usually try to leave about 7,500.
7,500 RPM. I'm thinking, that little small block can handle that, I laughed. Alan Garrison over Precision over in Carthage built this motor. And he said, "Oh, Alan said it'd be okay. He'll handle it." And I said, "Alan just wants to build another motor." No, I told Alan that. Alan's got my motor in his garage right now. And I said, "Yeah," I said, "I don't think I'm gonna turn it as tight as Justin does." He said, "What's he turn?" I said, "Oh, 75, 8,000. He goes, "Oh man." I said, "He said you said it was okay." He just laughed. I told him he just want to build another motor. But
There's sometimes.
I guarantee you,
I turn it harder than that.
I hadn't pulled a truck since probably 2012 or so, somewhere in there. And we had an old 85 Chevy we had bought off Derek Brown. It's a hauling grass truck. This truck was Summers, and it was the old Double D Express, what she called it. And it's kind of blue and silver, looks like an old Busch Light can. But we, for a couple of years, all the neighborhood boys have been on me. They put that truck in there, and we've been robbing all the gears and stuff out of it. So we threw it together for Carthage. And I remember Friday night I got up there and I'm backing up to the thing, and man, had a little fire in my belly, and I was like, "Man, this is fun, boy."
This is before I hooked. You went before I.
Yeah, before you
so,
did.
yeah.
And I pulled down there, and I don't even know if we ran, but just to get back out there after all, 10 years, 10 or so years. Oh yeah.
You was talking about blowing up, made me think of a story. My daughter, she started hanging around with us this last summer,
Yeah.
She went through a divorce and started hanging around with us. Well, she wanted to pull a little bit. Well, I let her pull my mini rod a couple times. Well, one night, I can't remember where we was at. Bernie said, "Well, just go ahead and pull the Energizer." And she did, and his thoughts was, of course, we're going to get him up here in 4 days a little bit. But his thoughts was, if it's going to blow up, it's going to blow up today.
Yeah.
She was into it.
Yeah.
I've always thought that, I've had some buddies help turn the wrench. I just don't let anyone drive a truck. If you want to come out and work on it with me and do a little sweat, I'll let you get in there. And years ago, we was down in the O show. We used to run in the O show in their rodeo arena, and that was a great pool.
Mm-hmm.
Now the college has it, and their insurance won't let them have it. But old Rob, the buddy, was the Terminator there at the end on the walking sled. He'd been helping me a little bit, and he got in there. He pulled. Well, the box didn't engage, and he just went ripping out the gate, Woo! They said, "Hey, you got to come back down and pull again." I said, "Hey, I told you can only run it once." So he got 2 hooks off of it. But you all been there when the pan didn't engage. You think you got her going. You think, "Boy, I worked on it all week. She's running great."
Oh, yeah.
Then you get to go do it again. You get 2 for the money. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, basic same question, we might have answered this. Explain what that's like going down the track once you leave and all that stuff.
It's a rush. Like probably never felt before, especially on them X Factors. You're going so fast. A lot of times, if there's a tree line at the end, you're thinking, "Oh shit, I'm gonna hit the tree line," and there's the box. You're done. Well, that's it. Okay, I guess we're done. But I just love it every second of it.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling, man. It's a rush.
It's addictive.
Yeah.
Okay, got one from Iowa. Came in on Facebook
boy.
Messenger. It says, "Do you always look at your machine over before you hook? And what do you check at the pulls? Competition can bring out the best or the worst in people, from my experience."
So a lot of things we look at just on a pull basis. We always check tire pressure. That's kind of the last minute of judgment on the track. Make sure all the spark plug wires are nice and tight. You don't want to drop a cylinder, have a track, or have anything loose. Make sure it's got oil, gas in it,
Check
Don't
kill
run out of
switch, make
fuel.
sure she's in there tight.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, ain't nothing getting worse than your kill switch jerked out in your full throttle.
Mine-
They're not easy on them.
My mini rod wouldn't run with the crap 2 or 3 pulls. Could not figure it out. And I thought, man, something's wrong here. And it was the wire was there was just 2 strands holding it. And I finally fixed it. Found it toward the bar.
Yeah, some of our friends, they'll run the valves after every pull. We've been doing about every 3 pulls. Run the valves, make sure everything's good. But like he says, we probably don't need to do it, probably overkill, but about every 3 pulls, it seems like we're changing the plugs and stuff. And there's sometimes we always make sure we get them plug boots back on. We've been down the track 7 cylinders before, and you come up there and it's like, man, I can't, something happened, you didn't get it back on there right. So
And then you're spending all week tearing apart a motor and
look at stuff.
Sticking the camera down, piston heads and walls and.
Yeah, and then there's a plug wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, we scoped the piston and all that last year. I think we melted the hole in one or did something. Yeah.
Okay, this must have been somebody that might have knew you. I think it's Oklahoma number 918.
Yeah.
It says, of course, I think we covered that. What was the name of the one your grandpa pulled?
Double trouble.
Double trouble.
Same
That's
one.
The one you pulled.
Yeah. Now there's another truck runs that
Double trouble.
Southern Missouri, and he's got double trouble, and he's a big block truck, and he thinks he's the double trouble that us. I said, man, I told the fella, I said, we've had double trouble for a lot of years.
And I'll add a picture of the double trouble pulling in this podcast. So.
Yeah. But anyway, everybody can copy names and stuff, but it's fine. But
Yeah.
we like to feel like we're the original double trouble.
I think we're the only blazer pulling anymore.
Yeah,
Any
most
sort of
people don't
wheelbase
use a short
truck.
wheelbase. Yeah.
Okay, 417 number.
Yeah.
Ask about the air pressure. Of course, you was talking about that. And does it make a difference? Explain about that, it says.
Yeah, it does make a difference. You know, depending on track, it'll either be dry, super wet. You know, if they're really hard and dry, you can run them a little bit higher or lower. Depends on what your preference is. On a really sticky track, you want a little bit higher than air pressure just to get the tires to spin. We mainly just work on the front side, the front two tires, rather than the rear. They're pretty well set. And then on a really tight, dry track, it's pretty hard. You want to air them down a little bit. It helps prevent a little bit of bouncing and a little bit better of a bite.
You know, one of the things we used to bounce a lot. Our truck used to bounce a lot, and what we kind of found out through the help of other buddies at truck pulling stuff, you know, one's your air pressure. If you air a tire up, it's like a basketball. And if that ground's hard, it's going to start bouncing. But also, a lot of guys go and they build trucks, and they're carrying too many leaf springs in the front of the trucks. And it's something that you don't think about. You think, well, I got to have that to carry that weight on the front. And most trucks that you can get them to quit bouncing, you got to go down to just about 2 leaf springs on the front, and then double shock them on that front axle, and that kind of help carry the load. Have 2 shocks, and a lot of us are running a stop bolt down on top of that. You know, your U-bolt, your leaf spring, your U-bolt plate there to carry them. But yeah, once we got the leaf springs down right, and you got that air pressure down where, you know, we might run 14 pounds in the front, so around there in it.
I've ran as low as 8 before, and
Yeah.
as much as 17. Depends on the track.
Yeah. So
It does.
air pressure does make a difference sometimes.
Okay, I've had 2 or 3 texts kind of related to the same. Says, would you guys talk about the safety? Tell us what you look for pulling in a pool.
Okay.
I don't know, that's just what
So-
the question said.
A lot of associations are different. I just wanted to put that out there. You know, you have Spring River, they want you to have a seat belt, fire extinguisher, kill switch, and drive line shields. That's really about it. If you go anywhere bigger, Southern Missouri, Missouri State, PPL, X Factor, anything X Factor, the new style sled, you're gonna have to wear a full-blown fire suit, helmet, fireproof, or boot, shoes.
Leather shoes.
Yeah, you know, they have the same safety requirements on the truck, the driveline shields, U-joint shields, extinguisher system. If you're running batteries in your truck, you gotta have them covered just for safety. The higher up you go, the more safer you get. You know, you gotta wear gloves sometimes, the fireproof head sock, all that, full face helmet. So they just wanna make sure you have all that, and they'll go over your truck, pull your kill switch if they need to, make sure you have a working extinguisher, which we probably need to check in ours.
Yeah, everybody does. But you'll get teched at the first of the year. They'll put a zip tie on your kill switch. They'll go around and check everybody's switches, and you know, if a new truck comes in, you know, they're gonna say, well, minimum, you're gonna have that fire suit on. You may have to borrow one from somebody out there in front of yours and stuff. And I know I had to last year. I went with Southern Missouri a couple times, and you know, borrowed his race suit and stuff. And so
It gets hot and sweaty in the summer, but
yeah,
it's better torching all your leg hair off. So.
yeah. I think they're just looking at, you know, everybody's personal safety, because most of us would just get there and drive, you know.
Right.
Most of us just get there for the thrill of driving. So.
And I had one question that made me think of it, and I forgot to write it down because I got it the other day when we were working, but somebody asked me, of course, I don't know if this has anything to do with pulling, but well, it kind of does.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, wanted to know what the difference between a monster truck was and a pulling truck, and wanted to know if a monster truck could pull. And I didn't, that's why I didn't write it down, but
Yeah,
I mentioned
actually, they can pull.
You know,
It's big on the East Coast, actually. They do a lot of major truck pulling, you know, I mean, they stand them up on the back two tires and go down the track. It's impressive, but.
So like a standard truck like we all run is 26-inch hitch height.
Right.
So the hitch height on a monster
Oh,
truck's
yeah.
gonna be a lot more. So then your
Yeah.
anchor point, so they do that for the kids. You know, they're wheeling them up,
Oh,
making them stand up there though. So I believe they do the deal. Now, most monster trucks, I believe, probably what 1,200-1,400 horsepower.
Yeah.
You know,
At the least.
Well, they do them backflips and stuff, man, it's amazing.
amazing what they do with them trucks now.
It's
They've got-
unbelievable.
They can do it, you know, big front end, rear end, and big old monster,
Right.
military styles, tires.
I'll tell this just for the heck of it, but my son, or my grandson, he's just ate up, you know, with
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that, you know. He was sitting in his car seat last night, we were going down I-44 toward the fry stack to a pig sale. And I don't know why, man, I must be getting old and can't see, but I looked up there and I seen this truck, this Dodge truck, and there was it was on a car hauling trailer, but I couldn't tell it. It just looked like it was a monster truck going down the highway in front of it.
Yeah.
And I said, look at that monster truck in front of it. I actually thought it was a truck jacked up going down the
Right.
interstate, you know. Man, he like crawling out of his car seat. He
wanted to see that.
It was funny, you know. But, okay, Facebook message from Kim, your favorite pull. It might be somebody you know.
My favorite pool is probably Billings. It's a Southern Missouri pool, about 20 minutes southwest of Springfield, really more west than anything. They just have it's a great downhill track, it's a clay track, Phil Rouch with Sandcrest trailer runs the track and everything. And they run the PPL series with their diesel trucks and tractors. And it's just an overall good time. A lot of people, a lot of trucks are
A lot of good
up there. They have some awesome food trucks. It's a good time.
What's your favorite?
Well, of course, I'm going to say Carthage. I've been involved with it. Well, I've been a Shriner for 23 years. And so I've officially been in charge of the track for about 23 years. But I've probably got 30 years of pulling in Carthage and or helping with the pull. And, you know, we feel like we have the best facility that Spring River had run at. Definitely had the best cook shack. Our ladies
Oh, yeah.
used to always run the cook shack. Now we got Jasper FFA helping us with that. The FFA kids kind of run that. And we have lots of great sponsors. It's always a real family affair out there. You know, a lot of places they want to go to some beer gardens and stuff like that. But we've always wanted to keep this thing family oriented.
Oh, yeah.
Keep the kids out there, let them have fun. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna say Carthage.
Yeah.
They have
prejudice.
And you know, every tractor puller I've had on here said the same thing. Their favorite pull is Carthage.
Yeah, it's
And while we're talking about Carthage, tell everybody when it is.
July 14th and 15th of 23, Friday, Saturday night. Garden Tractor's going to start at 6 on Friday and 5 on Saturday. Big Sun will start at 7 like usual. The reason why we're mainly doing that is because you guys bring an awesome amount of people with you, tons of garden tractors. And we want to get you guys out of there before it's 2, 3
2 o'clock in the morning.
So
Oh, man, that's early for me and Bernie.
yeah.
So, there's a lot of them.
You know, with when we did the Spring River Sled, they had about 23 classes they run. And with the Southern Missouri, we're gonna have 14 classes. Each truck only gets one pass. So that's a big difference for Carthage. So if if you're a spectator, if you want to come out and visit, a lot of times you say, man, I've seen that truck run down the track 3 times. With this sled, and I feel like we're going to bring a lot more serious competition, a lot more better vehicles. Not that we ain't always have better vehicles, but I'm going to bring some high-class vehicles in that runs this organization. It's a points pool for this Southern Missouri.
they pay better.
And it's got really good payouts, so just kind of check that flyer, make sure if you're going to bring a piece of equipment, make sure you got some safety equipment, because they're going to be sticklers on Alan Box. He runs that, he's the president. They just want to look out for everybody's safety, so.
Yeah. And if you don't see a class and you want to pull, that your class ain't on there, come see us. They'll more than happily put you somewhere.
I think Justin's name's on the flyer.
Yeah.
Make sure you call Justin, and he can talk to Lonnie, runs a sled, and we'll try to find a home for you, so.
Cool. Yeah, we've had a lot of questions, people wanting to get our schedule out, and we're working on that now.
Oh, yeah.
So. Facebook message from Jerry. How long has the white pickup been pulled? I think we probably answered that. How many different motors it had?
Oh, shoot.
I put 2 in it myself.
Yeah. Grandpa blew it up 3 or 4 times. I would say we're probably on 6 or 7 motors in that truck, I would say. Yeah. But luckily, until when did you put the standard transmission in?
3 years ago.
3 years ago,
That last
we
one,
had run that
9
350
years.
turbo automatic the whole time.
Mhm.
And the only thing it ever done was we'd put a manual valve body and a shift kit in it. It had never been apart.
What gear are you pulling in?
On the standard, it's in second or third, depending on the track. First gear is automatic. Luckily, that old motor, before we put this new one in, it had 9 years, so it had a hard 9-year life.
Yeah. Just kind of tuning on it a little bit. And
Yeah,
So-
if you keep them well maintenance, every 5-6 pulls, depending on how it runs, they'll last you a lifetime.
I showed this paper to your son before we started, kind of
Yeah.
to go over some of the questions. And I asked him, I said, do you know this lady here? She sent this in on Facebook Messenger. Her name was Sarah.
yeah.
And she says, if somebody wanted to start pulling today, how do I find a rich single guy that would let me drive? LOL. So somebody has to know you from that.
Probably. Well, Sarah, here's what I tell all the guys. Them guys that their girlfriends or wives get in that truck, guess what? They're usually standing down there at the end of the track with me. Because once that girl gets to drive your truck, she likes it so much, and all you get to do is turn the wrench. That's why I had to build me a truck. I got tired of working on his. No, I think it's great. We have a couple. They're in Carthage. Matt McCauley,
Matt and Hannah.
Matt and Hannah, and their truck's called Date Night. And he runs one class, she runs the other class,
Yeah.
and that's what they do. And they bring their kids, and they both have a great time.
Yeah.
And
I've seen some.
what better way for a guy to get the support of his wife is let her drive that thing. Once she gets the bug, you can spend all the money you want.
I hope my wife does.
Right? I hope your wife don't want to drive your seat.
Yeah.
So Sarah, if you can find you a rich guy, good luck.
Yeah, and you really have to start out big like us, Pro Street. They have entry level classes like hot stock. You can take your truck mainly off the road. As long as you have insurance or a license plate, you can pull it a lot of places.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll have local classes.
Somebody took, and I think it was that was a Seneca. Somebody come out with their tag, well, they had a tag on, and hooked to the antique sled pulling pickup.
Right.
And I think, I was watching him later when he was done, and he pulled out on the highway and got on it a little bit. It didn't shift right.
Oh, boy.
And then I seen him pulled over just down the next corner there,
I hope his car dealer is sitting there full watching
That's
it.
what I
He's gonna try to
thought,
turn
too.
it on warranty.
That's what I thought. And I think it happened at, where was we at? Sheldon, Missouri, they hooked on. And,
Oh,
man, they was giving, it tested the,
Tested it, did it?
Tested it.
He said, I got
yeah,
warranty.
transmission.
The dealer sitting up there in the crowd
Oh,
watching it.
yeah.
They had a
Brand new.
Denali HD 3500,
Oh, wow.
had 1,000 miles in it. They come in and hooked on that sled.
We've seen that at Carthage a few times, brand new
Oh, yeah,
power
brand new
strokes.
truck.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can get Hatfield to sponsor this,
Yeah.
this podcast and bring a truck over and pull it,
That'd be nice.
That'd
I'm a
be
past
good.
customer.
There you
One
go.
of the trucks Justin drives is, I bought over here when, how old was you, about 8 or 9 years old? This is an 05, 3/4 ton Chevy. I still have it. We should have drove here today. Maybe they would.
Well, I wouldn't say no.
No, they wouldn't.
Okay, Joe wants to know,
Wait,
okay. While you're here in Columbus, Kansas, stop by the Happy Jacks Automotive Museum and Memorabilia. Have a sandwich and look at all the nice stuff we have here to see. Cars, trucks, signs, and just plain old stuff from back in the day. Everything from fuel pumps to advertising memorabilia and pictures of your local heroes. Come on down to Happy Jacks and enjoy.
hey, thanks again, Happy Jacks. Come on down during the week. He's open Tuesday through Saturday. Get you some good barbecue. You won't ever forget it. Pass them through in the mornings. Best breakfast you'll find in miles. So, all right, back to Joe. What causes the wheel hop in the rear? You talked about that a while ago on a 4-wheel drive pulling truck. Air pressure.
Yep, air pressure is a big one, weight distribution is another one. You want all your weight as far out as you can get it on the truck and as low as you can. You want the rear end, on some of these bigger pro stock trucks, you can go up to the hitch and grab it and lift the whole rear end off the ground. They've probably got 65 pounds on the rear, plus the tires, that's about it, cut out bed. As long as you have a ton of weight to move forward, they mainly stay on the ground on a long wheelbase. We fought that for a lot of years, being a short wheelbase, that makes a huge
Yeah,
difference.
he's worried about the rear, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of them, once you get that sled going and it starts pulling down on you, coming off that line, you'll see a lot of them get to hopping like that.
Right.
And with it being a rear, that usually means your tires are just trying to really dig. You can come off a little harder, try to break those rear tires loose, a little bit more air pressure, get them to quit biting so hard. Or maybe, change a different tire if you have a mud tire, all terrain.
Okay, Frank wants to know, do you pull in a point system? Can you explain it on how that works?
Sure. So we do pull on a point system about everywhere we go. You get a certain amount of points for showing up and signing up for the night. I think it's 7 or 8 points there automatically. And then the way on the placement itself, if you place first, you get 7 or 8 here, and then second place is a point less, so forth, to how many vehicles are in that class. Those points add up all through the year to the championship, and that's how you win first place, hopefully.
So what do you get at the end of the year on the point? I mean,
It's different every year, it seems like. Sometimes you can get a hoodie or a jacket. We got a jacket for second place with Spring River this year. I got fourth with Southern Missouri. I got a glow in the dark cup. And a lot of times they'll give you a check too at the end of the year, a little bit of money you can put in. And it's nice also, you go to their banquets, they spend a good amount of money in prize giveaways like racing fuel, complete craftsman tool sets, tools, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we should have brought the Spring River jacket. It was pretty nice. Had their Spring River sled on the back, said Spring River Points Championship, so
Yeah, it's really nice.
very nice.
I know a lot of people, I get a few questions sent in on my other podcast, they talk about points, want to know how.
Yeah.
Like, I think I got one from Wisconsin one time,
Really? Right.
I couldn't answer,
Yeah.
because,
You know, a lot of that's bragging rights,
right,
and sometimes it comes down to, did you make all the pulls?
right.
You may not have been the best truck every night,
Mhm.
but if you made, if you spent your money and your time and you went and traveled and hit all them pulls, then, I feel like you deserve to win because you spent your money to get
A
there.
lot of those people do place pretty high in points. We've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
The pro stocks come down to 1 point last year at the last hook.
We live in Carthage, and with the Southern Missouri group, we had 2 pools left in the year, and we knew, hey, if we go to Thayer, Missouri,
3 hour
and I
drive.
said, where's Thayer, Missouri? What's over in the Boot Hill almost? So we take off, we go to Thayer, we drive over there, we're out of the truck, maybe an hour and 30 minutes, pull on the trailer and back. We spent an 8 or 9 hour day for an hour and a half truck pull to move into third place?
Third place, and then the
We
last.
thought we
pull-
had it solved up, and the last pull of the year, a truck that was behind us jumped in there and took it, so it moved us to 4th. But, that's just part of it. We couldn't go, and they could, and so
Yep.
you spend a lot of time traveling if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, placement, if you show up, that's a lot of points.
Yeah.
I thought this one was interesting, it come from Darren. Can someone tell me what the purpose of the ice is in a pro pulling truck?
So I can't tell you on a pro pulling truck because they're different. In ours itself, we use the ice to cool down our fuel. The way it hits the intake from the carburetor, it burns a lot harder.
Helps it vaporize faster.
Yeah.
I know that some diesels will have they'll put all the ice out front in their intercooler, and that'll be cooling the air coming into that motor. So, one of the greats is Gary Woodard from Neosho, Missouri. Gary is the king of the 2.6 class in Spring River, and has been for years. He runs a Yippee-Ki-Yay truck, and this guy carries 2 of those big monster white coolers that you see at Sam's. I don't know how he tugs them along anymore. I mean, Gary's been pulling 40 years. I've known Gary most of my adult life. I mean, and he's there every night, and he'll be icing down the front of that big old Dodge, and he makes her scream.
Yeah.
I know he uses that for cooling.
A lot of them pack ice around the engine too.
Yeah,
But mainly,
keeping it cool.
the main reason behind that is to cool off the fuel or the air induction into the turbine.
Okay.
It just burns a lot harder.
That made me think of something too. When we went to the pull at Joplin,
Yeah.
they had that time, and the semis had them boxes on the back, you know?
Yeah.
Or the semi-tractors had the boxes on the back, and they had, I think they had ice in them. too.
Ice in those.
Yeah, ice in them
Yeah.
now, so.
Yeah,
Trying to cool that air. Yeah.
Okay, this is funny because we got together before the podcast
Yeah.
started, but here's Sarah again.
Oh,
I don't know if
Sarah.
I don't know if this is a different Sarah or what, but in the video you posted for the next podcast, she's talking about me, he had sent me some pictures. Why did the tractor come out, or why did the fire come out of the tractor when it stopped? Did it burn the tree?
So luckily, it didn't burn the tree, even though we were in a drought, it seemed like most of the year.
Talking about the tractor building.
All through, yeah. The reason why it had so much flame is it's a lot of unburned fuel. And all these vehicles that are pulling, we run a lot of oversized jets in our carburetor. I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah.
And you're dumping a lot more fuel than the tractor can take idle. So the best way to get it out there is just burning it
It
off.
burns it off.
So that's all that is.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good video, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
When that tractor
It was-
come
yeah,
down
it
there
was a
and
good
he
video.
ran it right up to the trees and then
A lot of people thought
made
it
the
was
fire
him.
come out of that
Yeah.
stack.
I'd love to drive
I
that.
thought we were gonna set the trees on fire. I
Yeah.
honestly did. I said, yeah, good thing the fire department's there, just.
Well, I noticed that, you know, and I
Yeah.
thought too, you know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Somebody noticed that and sent that in. Norma, I think this one's for me, kinda. Can you cover some, wait a minute, can you cover some semi-tractor pulling on your YouTube channel? Norma, I only go where we go mostly and, do the podcast and wherever I'm at. If I'm not at a pull, yes, I might be at a pull, but I know that I took the camera with me to Carthage, but Joplin,
Yeah.
and they said if you YouTube it, Lucas Oil Company wants to let you YouTube it. They have right,
Well, they want some money, don't they?
I guess, so.
Yeah, man.
I don't know, we tried to film a little bit, like, my son works for
Yeah.
Crossland.
Yeah.
They had a Crossland truck, and hauled it over there and stuff for them, but anyway, I was kinda scared to film it and then really put it out there,
Put
you
it out
know?
there,
You
yeah.
know?
Don't blame you.
I didn't wanna get in trouble.
Well, now you can. Lucas Oil's out of it.
Oh, really?
They,
Yeah.
they
Well, that's
sold
what I
out.
heard.
Are they gonna have that poll again at Joplin, or?
Well, it's supposed to be every other year. I hadn't heard anything on this year. It'd be coming this year if it did.
Yeah, haven't heard anything on it.
I don't know who the
Even
new,
that big deal wheat one, they're out of it.
yeah. I don't know who the new naming rights are. They
And here's
said-
another one for me too, and I guess throw that in there because you sent your questions in. Thomas says you need more pictures on here, that's why I joined your group. Well, Thomas, I'm sorry, I do my best, you know, so when pulling season starts, I'll probably start posting more pictures on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
So a lot of people like seeing them pictures, so.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do my best, Thomas, if you're watching. So, kind of the last one here, and this is, I just got this one about an hour ago. I think me and Bernie can answer this one. It says, it's from, Rohan, Rowan. He said, I moved to Western Missouri from Idaho this year. Where can I pull my Kia car? And I guess a mini truck, Kia car mini truck. So, you're watching, I'm taking that's a mini truck. So I guess get a hold of them, send me a message or something and we'll figure that out. I guess we could make a class for a mini truck, we had to, or come pull expedition or whatever, so.
Yeah, bring it to Carthage, we'll put the expedition. If Bernie lets you up on.
Well,
You know, so.
you said you used to run this many trucks back in the day with Grandpa, didn't you?
Yeah, about years ago. We had a few.
Yeah.
And I can still go back and get your message, I'll send you a message on that and let you know that, so. We're gonna take our last break, Happy Jack's here, we're gonna come back and just share some more stories.
While you're here at Happy Jack's enjoying the food, come on inside and check out the automotive memorabilia we have, and along with my new oil tanker. Come on by and see us.
We're back. Story time started.
Story time started.
Carthage made for us. At one time.
Dale Howe.
At one time, it was Carthage made for us.
Yeah, we're just trying to recollect the old mini trucks they used to run in Carthage. We always had the mini rods and little trucks, and I'm sure they're still out there. Somebody, maybe somebody here watching the podcast will reach out to us,
Whoa.
and you know, hey, if you got a big group that wants to pull, you know, give us a holler. You can always find Justin's name on our Shrine Pool flyer for the Carthage Tractor Pool. We'll have them spread all over Southwest Missouri, and I need to get some over here to Columbus. Maybe get some over here to pass them around because you got a big follower,
Oh, yeah.
following group over here. So
We're gonna have that deal on the 15th, so, I mean, I don't know how many tractor pullers we'll have, but hey, a lot of people likes to go watch, you know.
right,
And matter of fact, this guy that owns this place,
Yeah.
he's a big Shriner from over here.
oh really?
Yeah.
Now the Mercer Temple out of Pittsburgh. That's good. I probably know him. Ran into him. Well, you know, we always have our tractor pull in Carthage, and a lot of people, you know, economy's tough right now and stuff. But if you want to come out for a good family event, we've always had a great show, and I believe kids under 5 are free.
I think it's under 6.
Under 6 is free.
Yeah.
Adults, how much for adults are this year?
We did it the 15th.
15 for adults. Kids under 6 free. Always fairly good prices. on it.
$5 for kids under adult age,
Okay.
over 6.
You know, kids over 6 is $5. Okay, so.
My son, you know, he's a Shriner, you know. Of course, my granddaughter, you know, she was born and had to go to Chicago and everything.
Oh, really?
To the Shriners Hospital. But anyway, my son came over there like 3 years ago, and you might remember this. And he dressed up and pulled the tractor in his clown suit.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. And he went down through there. Of course, he asked.
Oh, I don't remember
that.
that.
Was back when Terry Corals
Yeah.
was there. He asked
Yeah,
Terry
yeah.
if that'd be all right, you know.
Yeah.
And so he did. And he's a balloon tire.
Oh, is he?
And we was getting ready to clean up and come home, and he was still sitting in the stands.
I
And he
believe
had a
for
line of kids from, oh my God, here to the end of the building waiting on him. He was tying the balloons.
We appreciate him doing
You
that.
know, and he loves doing that stuff, you know. So.
Yeah. You know, for all the honoring us as Shriners do, I think most people do realize we do a lot of good for kids.
Yeah.
And for your son to do that, tie those to those kids, and all the money we raise off that tractor pull just goes to our general fund, but that allows us to have the money to send kids. Most of our kids go to St. Louis. Now, we've had some kids go to Chicago and stuff, but, you know, so, you know, come out and, hey, this is a great time if you have a kid, or you know of a kid that needs Shriners help.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Shriners out here. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
bring your kids. We'll get you helped out. I mean, if you don't want to wait, get a hold of these guys. Get a hold of Justin on the flyer. We get you some help.
I've actually got one being taken care of right now in St. Louis. That's why.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That's a good deal, you know.
Yeah.
Me and the wife went up there with our first surgery, you know.
right.
And stayed in the Ronald McDonald house.
Yeah.
It's awesome, you know. Just and that hospital, just I mean, you just it's mouth dropping when you go in there, you know. I mean, the people, the volunteers,
Yeah.
you know, and everybody helping.
They're enough
you know,
kids.
And it's unbelievable.
Well, we're talking about tractors.
Yeah, you guys were telling stories during our break.
You know,
so-
Bernie has been coming to Carthage for, shoot, I don't know how long now, Bernie, but we've been hooked up together for a while.
Well, on the garden tractor sled, but I was there, I don't know how many years, just pulling the Spring River sled.
Right.
For the modifieds.
Yeah, so, you know, the best part of him is he gets these little kids out there, and I'm always so proud of, like, this little girl named Emma Potter from Lamar. She might have 5 tractors, the Pulling Princess, and I don't know, and this girl, she started when she was so little, now she's up there driving these big
Oh, yeah,
tractors.
4440, yeah.
She would come up to the ticket booth, and she'd say, I won this. Okay, what's your name, Emma? You know, we'd make her say, we knew who she was. And she'd have this many trophies going back. She could have her own tractor pull for years and probably give away trophies. And,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's so good that you have this.
The best part of when I'm riding a sled is watching those kids.
Oh, yeah.
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 Because like I said earlier, without them kids getting started, you're not gonna have nothing going on later.
Right. Now, what I really like watching Bernie ride the sled is when you see this Thunderstruck, these motorcycle motors, and these big 350 Chevys on there. Bernie's doing one of these numbers, and I'm always, hang on, Bernie! I'm not yelling, announcer, I'm yelling, hang on, because it's quite the ride. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Oh, I
amazing.
could tell you a story about a real ride, but I better not, because
No.
his wife might watch this
What?
podcast.
Oh, mercy sakes.
The ride you took one night at, I can't remember, we was up in Missouri, Nevada, Missouri, and, well, I guess we
When the
didn't tell you.
chain broke.
And, they was pulling Missouri Southern, right?
Missouri State was on
Well,
this.
Missouri
side.
State
We
was
were on
pulling
this-
over there. Well, this guy said, hey, I got this tractor I'd like to test or something. And it was, I can't remember, it was one of them big decked out John Deere's.
Yeah.
And Bernie said, well, I can stop you. And I know he could stop me, but the chain broke. And that guy took off, and I mean, I bet he was running 40, 50. I
And
mean,
the
it
flag-
was moving.
Flag man was watching Missouri State. And
Yeah.
I was going like
Shut
this.
it down.
And
Ugh.
that's, our sled only weighs like 17,000 pounds.
Right.
Okay, and the pan, and it's, when you take off, the pan will come off the ground.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
I mean, it starts easy.
Yeah.
Well, that pan came up, and by that time, the chain broke, the weight come back. Well, I've got brakes. I started sliding the duals, well, that made it a lot worse.
The sleds, I was announcing.
But that pan was just
And-
like
and
a
the
magic
sled was-
carpet. I was going down.
It was
something
just
like this.
whipping. I mean, that sled was just whipping. I thought,
Yeah.
oh man, this ain't gonna.
That thing wads up,
You
it's
know.
gonna be bad.
And I was
Well,
on the microphone and I didn't
you
know
know,
what
I hit,
I didn't know what I
I
said.
hit the brake and it just make it worse, so I thought, I'll just ride her out. Because I had the red light on, everything, flag man was down there watching the other pool, you know.
Right.
And that right there, you know, I mean, you guys watching, you know, I mean, you've heard me say before out there on the track, you know, even on the, with the garden tractors, you know, that is very important. That if you're gonna do that job, that's an important job.
Mhm.
You don't think it is, but that's an
Right.
important job, you know, doing that flag.
And something people don't realize is everybody wants to be down at the finish line. Everybody
That's
wants to be
right.
down there where the wheel in, where they're screaming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You gotta be careful when that chain does break.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they have a kill switch, that thing still has momentum.
Well, since then, I put an electric kill switch so I
Right.
can hit it and it'll pop the kill switch.
Kill the pop
See,
switch.
then I just had one that
Right.
was solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been as guilty as everybody else. Want to be right there at the end,
Oh,
same,
yeah.
you know. So
Oh,
you gotta
yeah.
pay attention.
But
We've
yeah,
been pretty lucky.
we were moving.
You know, we've had a few little fires and stuff, but we've never had a major accident at Carthage.
Oh, yeah.
Over the
Yeah.
years, you know, we always have our local fire department and the EMTs out there, and they're always good. You know, of course, they want to come to the pool free too. You know, it's
I had a little
They was
excitement
out
on my end last year.
Oh, yeah?
They're working the scales
yeah,
when that girl broke her ankle or
Yeah.
whatever. That was kind of interesting.
yeah. I was really worried about that.
And, you know, it's
They were
like,
letting their little kid ride on the back of the tractor,
Oh, yeah.
and then it rolled back on her.
and it's funny, you know, and I ain't saying nothing bad about people,
No.
but it's funny when something like that happens, it's like, let's make a circle and gather, you know?
Right.
Get back, give them room, you know, the nurses are coming, the doctor, you know, whatever, you know?
Right.
But it's amazing, you know, how.
Apparently, everything worked out good for her.
Oh, yeah.
We never heard anything through
Well,
the
and
line.
she ended up just, she came back to the pool, like,
Did
before
she?
it was over with. And I guess it gets dislocated or something, and they had to, they put it
Pop
back
it
or
back in
something.
place. Still playable.
But, oh my God, it looked awful there on the start.
Yeah, and then, you know, that's something, apparently they may let their kid ride on the back of the Willie bars or something a lot, but you just gotta be careful.
Yeah, that's true.
Something like that can happen so fast.
Oh, yeah.
You
Anything
know?
can happen so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got any more stories? Or we'll wrap it up, or?
Well, you got some.
What?
You know, Lonnie Moody, he used to pull a mini rod called Tater Digger.
Okay.
And then I think him and his dad got into the little miniature two-wheel drive truck.
Okay.
Because we used to pull them on. And I thought at one time Lonnie had a big four-wheel drive.
I think he did too.
Yeah.
He had
It
a
was a
Thunderstruck,
Ford.
yeah.
It was a Ford, yeah.
Right.
He bought Terry Bumgarner's for a while.
Yeah.
Thunderstruck, okay.
Yeah.
So Lonnie, he runs the Bumgarner sled, the red one. I don't know if it has a certain name.
No, just
But,
red.
but it's Lonnie sled, what we all call it. He's, I always give, Bernie and all them sled guys a lot of praise because we can go to tractor pull, we can go pull, get done, load up, and go home. Well, them guys gotta stay till it's over, then you gotta put it all up, then you gotta take it home. So,
Yeah,
You know.
I thought it'd really be nice to have a sled.
that's a lot of work. You know, I think a lot of us take it for granted
Well, I mean,
that,
you
you
know,
know, well, we're going pulling this weekend.
For years, I went and pulled, you know, I usually stand and watch the whole pull.
Yeah.
But I'd load and hell, I'd be ready to go, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a totally different story when you got.
Different story.
We'll
and,
take-
and some of the stories you got when you come home.
oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, just, you know, there's a new story. I mean,
You know, we take, a lot of them will take most sleds.
Oh, yeah.
That is a pain,
Right,
but we get her done.
yeah.
yeah, there's a new story every trip home at night, in the middle of the night at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, you either
Oh,
got a
well,
drunk
you know-
driver coming at you, or
Uh,
you see a good wreck, or you get a mule, you almost run over a mule.
Right.
You hit a goose and feathers fly, you know, there's
I
stories.
think it'll be the 13th year this year that I've had that garden record.
Is it 13 years? Yeah.
And I've been pulling order for you guys for probably that long.
Probably that long, yeah, forever, yeah.
You know,
So, yeah, you know, Jim and Seth Seedorf, they run that Spring River sled. Glenn Walters and Angie, you know, we appreciate them. We had lots of years with those people, and you know, sometimes organizations decide to kind of get bigger.
Yeah.
So that's why we're going with that Southern Missouri and have that X Factor
I think it'd
sled.
be a good deal.
It's gonna be a great pull.
Where's
You
he at?
know,
Where's that sled out of?
They're based out of Jeff City. They've got, what you got, 11 sleds.
Really?
Yeah, and 7 or 8 of the big ones. Couple mini rod sleds. They run all over the place. Wherever there's pool, they probably need to be there.
And then there's a new one coming up out of Arkansas. It's called WW Productions. They've bought 2 sleds, so they're kind of going out and kind of picking up all the other pools that Spring River had. I kind of see, I mean, I don't know, but I kind of see Spring River going towards just being a tractor sled. I think these trucks are trying to build their trucks and gear them towards these, I call them race sleds, easier to run, easier to pull.
go fast.
You know, it's kind of, it's 2 different gear setups, you know. They can go run that Spring River sled and pull, it's really heavy.
Yep.
Or they can go hook onto that sled and really get some RPM and speed.
You know, I went to the pool at Coffeyville one time and they had one of them big sleds come. Well, they broke down, they couldn't make it. And the old boy we pulled with over there in Kansas with our modifieds, he had a sled. But it was made out of an old trash truck, you know, and he could steer it. It was
Interesting.
well, when you hooked on it, if you got squirrely, he'd turn in wheels and follow you. And everybody just hated that sled. But anyway, that sled broke down, they couldn't make it. And they called him if he would come over there. Well, he said, I can, but them go fast boys ain't gonna like me because I gotta start loading them when they take off.
Right.
Well, this is a story. But anyway, they had twin, triple engine modifieds. And them old boys just didn't get nowhere. You know, and oh, they're crazy to hell. All right? Here comes old Danny Metcalf, and he's pulling Spring River sled.
Oh, yeah, for years.
He come in there and got underneath that and run her clear out the gate.
Yeah.
And them triple engine ones made it about halfway.
Right.
But, I mean, you know, he knew what that sled, how to pull one, and them guys, all they ever was on and go fast sled.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
they're different.
Yeah.
But they say, and this is, you know, it's one of those same things. You pull one of them old sleds, it's like pulling 6 of these new ones. That's
Well,
how much load they put on.
that one, Spring River, when I was pulling, I asked Randy, you know,
Yeah.
I said, what's
Randy
that weigh?
Drake, yeah.
I said, what's that weigh? He said, well, I'm pretty sure it weighs about 52,000.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
and it was like starting pulling the tree up. Because on my modified, it would stand up for the first 60 feet or so, and then it would come down.
Right.
You know, and then you could, but yeah, it's hard to start.
Was last year their 50th year?
51st.
This is their 51st this year?
52nd this year.
Oh, Spring River, 52nd year.
Yeah.
Norman Drake.
Well, they started that.
They started
10
that,
years.
yes, and you know, of course, Randy and
Yeah.
Don Drake,
Yeah.
Norman's brother, you know,
Yeah.
he always worked this. If
Track.
you went to a track and you seen that old Case tractor and that dog riding up there with big old Don Drake, and ain't nobody worked a track like that guy.
Oh,
That
he
is
was,
the best track
Yeah.
blader I've ever
that
seen.
dude, yeah, he was good.
Man.
He might run over you a couple times. He get close,
That,
but
that track down Billings, I went down there a couple more times and
Yeah.
modified, and that is one.
they do a nice
Right.
job with that.
It is.
That's like, what was that one year, they had that skid steer and that fire truck out there, and that skid steer just straight.
Ran over the fire truck, right over the back of the fire truck.
Oh, yeah.
The fire truck out there trying to wet it down, and skids, they had a rake on the front of the
Brand
skid steer.
new, John Deere skid steer,
Yeah, ran up over the back
Still had the
fender of the
plastic
fire
on it.
truck. and Kind of felt
man.
bad for him, you know.
pushed in that skid steer a little bit, oh man.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was, they have an awesome place there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, we called them, you know, because they had a, what'd they call that? Oh, can't remember what class they called it, but anyway, I called the guy and talked to him. He said, well, you're only allowed this size of carburetor, and this and that. So here we went. I changed my carburetor on my modified and everything. My nephew helped me. He went with me. We got down there, and I got to looking, and I thought, why did you know, I have to change I had that 1150 alternator, you know?
Right.
And he said, well, I had to at least get down to a 950.
That 950, 850, somewhere there, yeah.
Yeah. We got down there, you know, there's carburetors my size and all that, and I said, econo rods, what they call them. Yeah.
Conrods.
But anyway, I got talked to that one guy, and he said, well, who did you talk to? And I told him who I talked to, and he said, oh, he don't have shit to do with this.
He didn't want you to come down and meet him,
Yeah.
Marty.
Yeah.
He wanted
He
to cut
didn't
your...
have shit to do with that, so he told me. I like, yeah.
Well, my camera lady's giving
Yeah.
us a signal we're out of time, guys. I thank you for coming over.
Appreciate
being
you
on the
having us.
podcast.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you Carthage, I know for sure. So.
Yep.
All right, thanks for watching. Keep it between the lines, and we'll catch you next time.